And good morning. We are back on the road. Unfortunately, we had to return from vacation, so now we're stuck working again. Back to my other norm. My other norm is vacation in Mexico. My second norm is welding. And today we're lucky enough to have to go take another weld test. Today is year number 22 in my career. So we're going to go take another weld test. I've taken thousands. I'm tired of taking weld tests. I think I'm going to stop. So yeah, we got to make our way north. We got about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. We stopped here at the truck stop, get us some burritos and a Diet Coke. So we're going to continue north. We got a little further to go, and then hopefully, maybe not, we'll be successful in passing our next test. This is just one of 3 tests I take. I take a stick test, a wire test, and a TIG test. This is the 4-year requalification test, so every 4 years I have to take this test. And hopefully I only have to take it a couple more times and I'll be finished forever. So let's go see how today goes. I don't know how the audio is going to do in here, but we're in a 2021 F550 for those of you who are considering buying the F550. I wouldn't do it. I'll give you a little walk around here in a little while once I get parked. But yeah, not a big fan. It's a 7.3 gasser. The gas engine's fine. It gets about 6 miles to the gallon. So as long as you got money for fuel, it's a fine engine. However, the truck has like a 16,000 pound payload capacity, and if you don't have 16,000 pounds on it, it's rough. It drives horrible. So yeah, so don't do that. But anyways, we got a little further to go, and hopefully we don't crash on the way up there, because it's rough. Stay tuned. Fun fact, this property over here on my left, it's hard to see, but all the barns and fence and whatnot, that is actually owned by the Mellencamp's. That is John Mellencamp's property, famous artist. If anybody knows where that is, you can pinpoint my location. Beautiful day for a weld test. So much to appreciate here. Bright and sunny. Weather's finally warming up. Looking good. There's a few things that need to be discussed as far as welding and weld testing. Sitting on the side of the road here. Don't want to be driving and talking, playing on my phone. That'd be what do you call that? Dangerous, irresponsible. So take a little break here, thinking about it. There's been a lot of couple big name welding institutes that have been putting out information, and mostly everything they're putting out is accurate. But there's been one misconception on several different welding educators' sites or videos and stuff like that, talking about you got to preheat your metal and get your torch out, get it hot to get the moisture out of the metal. That's incorrect. You're not actually getting the moisture out. They show moisture on the pipe, on the steel. What they're showing you and what they're telling you is two different things. You're seeing the moisture on the pipe. That's correct. The moisture's not coming out of the pipe. Steel is made at a foundry and a plant where it's, you know, the normal average melting temperature of steel is a little bit over 2200 degrees, and there's no moisture there. Trust me. You go somewhere where there's 2200 degrees, there's no moisture. That's the facts. So if you think that when that steel was made and it was cooling down, that moisture rushed in there and got trapped in the pores, that's not the case. Steel has essentially zero moisture content. It doesn't have pores. It doesn't have the ability to absorb moisture if there was moisture around. It's essentially dry. What you're seeing on that when you hit that with a torch is you're seeing the byproducts of combustion. When you take your hydrocarbons and you rapidly chemically react with oxygen, that's called a fire. When you combine the oxygen and the fuel, rapid oxidation creates water vapor. And what you're seeing is the water vapor from the flame condensing on the metal because it's cold. It's no different than a cold glass of tea or a cold beverage in the summertime sitting outside on the table in the summertime. There goes the state police. Good thing we're sitting still. We don't want to be doing this while we're driving. But yeah, so a lot of people have been taught incorrectly, and we've got instructors out there continuously spreading misinformation. What you're actually doing is you are preheating the metal. So when you make that weld, you're making that weld, it's say 10,000 degrees or better. You're heating that metal up rapidly, and then it's going to cool because of the thermal mass, and you do have a chance of cracking. It's not to get the moisture out. The moisture's not doing it. There is no moisture. So that's one thing people need to be aware of. Make sure you're learning the right stuff from the right people. And even though a person's an expert, it doesn't mean they're perfect. I'm not perfect. I've been doing this long enough. I've learned enough to skate by, make a career out of it. I get paid. Still no expert, but we're on our way up to take a weld test today. I wanted to share that because it popped into my mind. Yeah, so when you're preheating your material, it's not to get the moisture out of the metal. You will see moisture on it, but that's not coming out. That's actually moisture from the combustion process of the hydrocarbons and the oxygen. Rapid oxidation is considered fire, chemical reaction, and that's where you're getting your moisture from. It's flame impingement onto the cold metal, the moisture condenses, and there you go. So, but yeah, always good to preheat. Nothing wrong with it. You need to. There's a lot of benefits from preheating, but just understand you're preheating for the sole purpose of raising the surface temperature so you don't have thermal cracking when it cools rapidly. Thermal shock, essentially, for lack of better words. But yeah, your preheating is good, but understand what you're doing while you're preheating. You're not getting moisture out. So there you go. Tip for the day. All right, we have traversed from the bottom of Indiana around Louisville, Kentucky to the top of Indiana. Not the top, the middle of Indiana. We still got about 15 minutes to go, but we've made it this far without incident. Beautiful day for a weld test. We have arrived at the test facility today. We're going to go in here and hopefully we are successful. I don't know who's testing with us today. Looks like we've got another truck over there. 2 trucks today. I got 2 people to work around. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll update you here later on at the end of the day. See if we can find a parking spot. All right, it is about 1 o'clock. We have successfully passed another weld test. I might only have 2 more to do in my career. I don't know. You can't ever believe everything you see on the internet. No, I did not pass this in one day. This is day number 2. I had to forego the test last week due to time constraints and people's availability. So I had to come back. So I only had part of a test to do. That's the reality. But we took the test, we passed, we finished it. We did a destructive test, and now we are qualified again to weld on gas pipelines, which is funny. It sounds like the thing that you should not be doing. When I first started my career back in 2003, I believe, welding on gas pipelines, I honestly thought that they were joking. I came from a welding background. However, my background did not include live gas lines. Everything we did was purged. It was taken out of service, de-energized, and purged, and then you weld it up. I never did any welding on live gas lines until I came here. And I was honestly a little bit scared. So for all of you that are just getting into it, have never done it, it's a real thing. Now it's normal. It's become a normal thing for me. We weld on live gas lines. It's just normal. It's the way the industry works. It's what we've been doing for millions of years, and we're going to continue to do that just the way we've been doing. So yeah, we passed another test. Congratulations to me. And another thing that comes to mind about weld test, it's funny because you come out of one industry working on different codes. I come from the ASME code, and now I work in the API code. So I used to run boiler code, and everything was welded uphill. And that's how we were taught. And if you got caught welding downhill, it was illegal and you'd get kicked off the job. Well, now I weld everything downhill because that's what the code requires. It's API 1104 for natural gas, petroleum pipelines. Obviously, you're still going to run your low hydrogen 7018s, 8018s. Those are going to be run uphill. But your cellulose rods are going to be run downhill. Your 6010s, 7010s, 8010s, those will be run downhill. And that's what we've tested on today. So we do a 6010 route, 1/8 inch rod, and then we hop up to either a 7010 hot pass or a 8010 hot pass, fill, and cap. So everything's going to be good for at least an X70 pipe or X75 pipe. So you always want to make sure that your tensile strength on your rod is higher than your base parent metal. So that's what we do. We test with a 70 or 8010, and yeah, it works. It passed the destructive test. Everything's good. No slag inclusions, no lack of fusion, no porosity. Everything broke clean. It was good gray metal, nothing inside. So very excited about that. There goes a fire truck. That's not good. So we're headed back to the shop, and yeah, so we need to dive into more of the scientific side of the welding maybe later on once I'm not driving. Try to talk a little bit more about the science behind what we do and why we do it. There's a lot of arguments. A lot of people say, oh, you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. and that's how we do it. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit once we get to a safer place. We've done such a good job today. I think we need to go find us a milkshake or something. I don't know exactly where I am, and I don't believe there is any milkshakes around here. So we will continue to the next exit. There's about 100 topics that need to be discussed. I don't know if there's enough time in this video to discuss all the topics, but I think primarily I'm going to reach out. I'm trying to reach the young welders, the beginner welders that have not been misinformed yet. There's a misconception of there's only one way to do it. There's only one right way to make a weld. That's not the case. There is only one way to do it, and that's the right way, but there's multiple right ways. So let's go down the road. We'll find us a milkshake or something. We'll congratulate ourselves for passing another test, and we'll talk about the only way to pass a weld test or to make a correct weld. Well, that was a failed attempt at getting a milkshake or some kind of treat for passing my test. Pulled into the drive-through at a Sonic. I didn't want to name their name, but pulled in there and pushed the button, and I waited. I waited for a while. Nothing happened. Nobody said anything. Nobody spoke. Pushed the button again. I waited another 2 or 3, 4 minutes. I was there over 5 minutes. Nobody responded, so there's a bunch of cars there. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't have time for that. So unexpectedly, I did not get a milkshake. So we will try another place, see if we can find somebody else that has a little bit more time for us. Yeah, apparently they were too busy for us. We'll go somewhere else. That's a lot like welding. Things don't go as planned, and you have to learn to adapt. A lot of times you think you're going to do something and certain things are going to happen, when in fact they don't. A lot of times they don't. You don't get the results that you're looking for, and you have to learn how to fix it or adapt, and you're never going to be perfect. Things aren't going to go as planned. I'm pretty used to that by now. Nothing goes as planned for me, so that's kind of my norm. Everything's jacked up. So we're going to continue on and try to find another milkshake and see what happens. And as luck would have it, we missed our turn. I was playing on my phone and missed my turn, so now we're going about 15 miles out of the way. We're going to turn here. Hopefully this will take us where we're supposed to be. Somewhere on this road, street, avenue, avenida, calle, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully somewhere along the way there's a milkshake. Yeah, I got about 20 miles to go since I missed my turn. Luckily I'm not buying the fuel. Gives us plenty of time to reflect. Beautiful country, nice little road. We're gonna take this somewhere and find a milkshake or something. Congratulate ourselves for the good job that we did today. My God, it took us 2 days, but we finally found ice cream, milkshake, sundae of some sort. Finally made it. Good morning, we're back. Yesterday's video did not go as planned, as expected. Nothing ever does. But I was going to give you guys a walk around of the unit, the truck that I use. Kind of give you an overall view of it, see what it looks like, see the equipment. We're actually at a LP mixing plant today, where it's a LP and air injection plant, and mix LP and liquid propane and natural gas and air injected into the pipeline to supplement the usage in the wintertime. So here's where we're at today. I'll give you a look at the truck and the piping and the welding and stuff here at the station. So let's take a look. We are here at Weld Force 1, that's the name of the truck. Here's the machine that I use. It's a Big Blue 350 Pipe Pro, really nice little machine. It's on an F550. I won't show you the name of the operator, but there's that. But yeah, here's our reg station over here. Got a lot of valving, a lot of pipes underground. Got a separator over there, the big gray elephant looking thing. Try to walk over there and get a closer look. But here's some of the stuff that you're going to encounter in your welding career. You got some underground valves. They're all connected by pipes. They're all welded. No flanges underground, no threads underground. Here's one of our stations. These were all contracted out. All the welders, those contractors, done a really good job. There's what you can expect to be doing in the pipeline industry. These were probably all x-rayed or inspected non-destructively. Got some regulators. This is a worker monitor setup. One reg does the work, the other one's for backup, and that controls our pressure. We've got, typically you've got your higher pressure on your smaller side, so this is probably 360 PSI. Regulator's cutting it down, and then your outlet's gonna be a little bit bigger diameter because you have less pressure, you need more volume. So that's one way you can tell. So we've got that. I think we're going from 360 PSI on this side down to about 54 PSI on this side. But yeah, there you go. So you're going to be putting in a lot of reg, flanges, and apparatuses and different things. A lot of threadlets being put on. So there's some API 1104 welds. I did not build this station, but I've built a lot of similar items in the past. Got a lot of ground subsidence. We need to get that taken care of, so that needs to be put on the list of things to be addressed. Let's see if this gauge works over here. Yeah, there we go. So we got about 54 pounds. Right exactly where we're supposed to be. We got some more welds. These are welded with the 60-10, 70-10, 80-10s, cellulose rods. But this is a typical reg station that you're gonna see. I don't know what this is, our station number probably. So there you go, there's a look at some of the things that you're gonna see in the welding industry if you're in the API world. So maybe we can go find something else to look at real quick. Get over here and get another view of the back of the truck. This is where I typically work off of. There's my leads. I just keep a little bit of leads. Just enough to reach the hole, get in there and put a punch tee on or something. So that's what we do there. I'm not gonna get real close. We're in the middle of a pigging operation over here. So these guys is another team from out of town. They're actually doing a pigging project. If you guys aren't familiar with pigging projects, basically what we do is we put a tool in there. It's called a pig, multiple different types of pigs. They'll run a cleaning pig, maybe a brush pig, a gauge pig, and then they'll put in the smart pig. And the smart pig is basically a computer that goes inside the pipeline, and they send it down the pipe using gas pressure behind it, and it records all kinds of information, telemetry, pipe wall thickness, GPS coordinates somehow. High-tech stuff. It's a very technical operation to send a pig down the pipeline. So these are actually receiver launchers. I would say this is a security issue, but it's not, because there's no fence. There's a fence, but nothing that you can't see from the public eye. So I'm not too concerned with that. But here's a pig launcher receiver. Basically, you got a trap door. You open that door up, you put the pig inside, and then put gas behind it and send it down the pipeline. It goes underground to the other one on the other end of town, pops up in the receiver, and then you open up the hatch and get it out. So it's kind of like shooting a bullet down the pipeline. We call it a pig. That's what it's been called my entire career. So there's that. So yeah, so these are more things that you're gonna see. Might be building launcher receivers. They're flowing through here, it sounds like. They got one in there, I can hear it, kind of hissing sound. It's either flowing or it's leaking. Oh, it's leaking like a sieve. Something's leaking, not that. This is only running 500 PSI. Oh, I think it's that valve over there. So yeah, it's a maze of pipes, a lot of different sizes, a lot of welds, a lot of different things happening here. See here, so yeah, you put the bullet in there, put the pig in there, and then put gas behind it, and it's going to shoot it right down the pipeline, go underground here, and pop up somewhere else. So here's the typical little valving reg station, pig station, whatever you want to call it. And, again, you can see all this from the neighboring property and all these houses over here, so I don't think this is a security issue. So just kind of giving you an overview of types of things you might run into in the welding world. So here's what we do. So let's go find something else interesting today. All right, so we've got a pigging operation going on here. It's kind of hard to see through the fence. We're not going to go inside, but this is the other end of where we just came from. So this will be the receiving end or the launching end. I think it's flowing this direction. So this will be the receiver. So yeah, so I don't know who's walking around over there. Might be one of our guys, might be a homeless person, who knows? But yeah, so this is the other half of the operation. I don't know how it works, but it works. Pig goes right down the line, pops up where it's supposed to. We might get a peek on the inside, I don't know. We'll see what we can see and maybe take a tour of the inside briefly. All right, here's the inside look. Couldn't resist, had to come inside and get a video. And wouldn't you know it, there's more people here. That wasn't a homeless person, that was Woody. That's our buddy Woody. So I apologize to him. He is not a homeless person. Man, what an exciting weekend they had. I had nothing to do with this. I'm just coming here to look and see what kind of mess they've got. Right here on this trailer is a piece of 16-inch that had to be cut out. Had a little pigging project that we talked about earlier. Guess what? The pig got stuck. They run their gauge pig, it got stuck. Had to drive it out with another pig. Somebody thought it'd be a good idea to put the smart pig in. Guess what? The smart pig didn't come out. So now I'm gonna go back here, just see what kind of mess they got. Can't miss out on this action. Got quite the mess back here. But you can see they got a excavator back here. Got quite the pile of dirt. Walk back here and see what we got. See if they've covered it up yet. Kind curious if they have or if they haven't. We'll talk about, hopefully they have not covered it up at this point because it's been less than 24 hours. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. And this is good. They allowed for some off-gassing, and this wrap right here is not the FBE epoxy coating, so you don't really need to wait as long with this stuff. The off-gassing will happen and not pose a problem because of the wax wrap. All is well. We're going to get into the scientific side of welding and why we do what we do. Stay tuned for the next episode. We will get into it, I promise.